Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breakthroughs with Bree. On this podcast, we are discussing all of the topics that help us have breakthroughs on our personal and spiritual development journeys. My name is Bree, otherwise known as Healing with Bree, and I'm a channeler, energy healer, tarot reader, astrologer, and soul alignment coach. My mission in my work and in this podcast is to help teach people how to shift their consciousness, how to heal, and how to release beliefs and patterns and fears of their ego mind so that they can step into alignment with their soul to live lives of abundance, purpose, and bliss. In these episodes, I will be sharing either through my own lens and my own channel or through the experiences of my guest, wisdom and expertise about healing, spirituality, psychology, personal growth, holistic wellness, mysticism, consciousness, and so much more. My hope is that these conversations help you feel seen and provide support and inspiration for you with your own personal breakthroughs. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Breakthroughs with Bree. Today, we are doing a monthly forecast, an energy forecast for the month of May, and I'm really excited about this one. The energy feels really open and really exciting. I'm doing this on Tuesday, the 30th, so actually pretty close to when May starts. I feel like I'm already starting to feel the energy. I just did the cards for the spread, and they're so good. Like, they feel really positive, and they have a lot of really cool potential to them. If you've never joined me for an energy forecast before, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Here's what you can expect. I tap into the energy that the month has in store for us via a tarot spread, via channeled messages, via the numerology for the month, and then I talk a little bit about the astrology. So we're getting a bunch of different angles, a bunch of different mystical and esoteric types of practices. That's really just to help us make the most of the energy that this month is offering us. Some months, the energy is a little bit rocky, and the guides give us a lot of suggestions of how we can navigate that the easiest with, all the different ways that we're getting messages in this episode. And sometimes the energy of the month is good. And so we really want to be intentional with where we're choosing to put our energy, maybe what things we're planning for the month. So this is just giving you the opportunity to take what resonates and to just consider this energy as you're moving through the month to hopefully make it the best month it could possibly be for you. And with that, let's get started with tarot, because for all of these episodes, we start with the tarot spread. Okay, so here's a rundown of the spread. I pulled cards for the first card is going to be the main energy of the month. And then we're going to have two areas where we could have big breakthroughs, big healing moments, areas where we could experience a lot of growth and expansion, right? Then I pull some cards for each of those two areas. So for the first area, we'll have a set of cards that's what can we release, what can we embody, and what's the potential outcome of this breakthrough. And then for the second area, we'll do the same thing. What can we release? What can we embody? What's the potential outcome? And then to round it all out, I pull a final card, which is what energy can we take into the month? And it's really, really good for the month of May. So let's get started. The card for the energy of the month of May is the Four of Wands. And this is an excellent card to get to represent the full month. This is a card of celebration. We're having some fun. We're celebrating good things and accomplishments that have happened. We're taking a minute to acknowledge the progress that we've made and actually let ourselves celebrate it, especially with loved ones and with our people. What's fun about this is sometimes this can actually indicate things like weddings or big birthdays, or again, a literal celebration or party. So if you do have a lot of that happening this month, that's very synchronistic, which of course it is. It's springtime. This is when people want to be planning fun parties and things. But this is definitely a card that has to do with feeling like we're enjoying and celebrating, especially things that we feel passionate about or things that we've been working really hard towards. So celebrate wherever you're at. This month, the energy of that is going to be making that feel even better than it normally would have. So let's talk about the areas where we can have some big breakthroughs this month. The first area is the King of Cups. To me, this has to do with our emotional intelligence, our emotional mastery, and our emotional maturity. The King of Cups is the master of all of those things. So for this card to be what is representing that area of breakthrough, I feel like we're coming into deeper emotional and really spiritual maturity, since the Cups card is also synonymous with our intuitiveness and an aspect of our spirituality. If so far this year you have been really pushed to relate to your emotions different if you are really being pushed to learn how to process them or learn to how to just like relate to them different, or maybe just get in contact with them more, and learn how to really feel them, not just the positive ones, which is really important, but also the negative ones. If you've really been learning how to take more responsibility for your feelings and how they're influencing your experience and your relationships, and chances are this area of breakthrough in this King of Cups card and kind of section of the spread is for you. What's funny too, as I look at the rest of the spread, and I'll explain this as I move through it, but I feel like this also has to do with things that you're trying to manifest, because what we manifest really comes from what we feel and what we believe in our state of being. And our emotions are a really big indicator of what that is. So I feel like there's an underlying current, an underlying message of this that's also to those same people who've been really challenged to be relating and working with their emotions in a different way. If you're also trying to manifest some big things, this could relate to both things. So first, what are we needing to release? We're releasing the Seven of Pentacles. And what do we need to embody? We're embodying the Three of Wands. So this is a really interesting card, the Seven of Pentacles, about what to release. This is what the guides are telling me about this. You might be in your head a little bit about what you're trying to work towards, and almost like you're over analyzing what exactly it's going to be and exactly how you're going to get there. Usually, this card has associations with really thinking practically and what is like the return on investment of my energy, and like having perseverance and kind of thinking about like that long-term component of your efforts, like your actual the where you're applying your energy to create something, especially in the Pentacles suit. Usually it has to do with some aspect of our material life, right? Like whether that's like our physical health or our money or home, career, like that kind of thing. And there's this element of like really being self-reflective and honest with ourselves and kind of figuring out the long-term thing. For this to be in the spot of what we need to release, I feel like you're doing that a little too much in regards to whatever these manifestations are, or maybe even situations that are kicking up some of these emotions. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's stuff to do with like your own health. But I feel like there's a part of you that's thinking a little too much about the future, and it's taking you out of the present. And you trying to overanalyze the future is blocking you from what's supposed to be happening now to get you to the thing that you want to get to. Yes, having a clear vision for what you want and making sure that you have some practical and embodied elements of it is so important, but it feels like we're overdoing it a little bit with the Seven of Pentacles. So, what is the alternative here? The Three of Wands. The Wands has to do with our passions, our joy, our inspiration, our creativity. It's associated with fire signs. So, we're feeling kind of lively about things. The Three of Wands has to do with us connecting with our greater vision, which is kind of funny given what we just talked about, but like our greater vision of the things that inspiring us, and sort of like holding strong, like letting our visions help keep the fire burning for what we want. There's also an element of like, don't give up, like stay true to it, right? That both of these cards have, but they just do it in different ways. So the Seven of Pentacles is like, do I persevere? Like, does the work that I'm doing make sense practically, materially? And there's a little bit more of like a logical, again, practical element. Whereas the Three of Wands is doing it from a place of passion, of joy, of enthusiasm, of something that like lights them up. Like that's what keeps them going, as opposed to just logically and practically what makes sense. So with where these cards fall, it feels like this month, if you're really trying to help find that perseverance for this long-term goal, maybe it's a long-term season of healing, since the overall energy is this King of Cups. Maybe it's something that you're trying to manifest, and part of you manifesting that is taking a little bit more responsibility for some of those feelings. The thing that's going to help give you staying power is not so much this like practical, logical, analytical plan. Really lean into the parts about it that excite you and that give you joy. Let that be what guides you, even in any present moment. Because I feel like one of the things that the Wands cards do well is that they're really in the moment. They're really in like their passions and feelings and how they feel in their body right now. And that's very in line with Taurus season and a lot of the other things that are coming up in this month's energy. So really stay connected to your passions and your joy. Now, the potential of this breakthrough, if like you're working through it and you're making some adjustments and you're just being mindful of these energies, is the Knight of Wands. So, again, we have another Wands card. The Knight of Wands really puts into action, like really practices that energy of the Wands cards, of the Wand suits as it's approaching its goals. This Knight of Wands is super charismatic, super charming, super confident. The Knight of Wands is that person that moves with ease and with charisma, just period, right? A little bit of like F boy energy if you're reading it in like a spread about like relationships or something. But this is still a really cool card to have as the potential outcome. Like think of yourself moving towards what you want and moving through life with like a little bit of riz, like a little bit of confidence. Like you feel confident enough that you can be relaxed and you can just vibe off of like people and situations and have fun with it. Like you're really, again, the knight is putting into action, it's practicing, it's starting to get its hands dirty a little bit, applying the energy of that suit. And that's applying the energy of the wands, a little bit of that fire sign energy, like just having a grand old time, you know? So if you've been feeling, I don't know, maybe even a little socially awkward, or like you've been like isolating yourself, or things have just felt kind of clunky or like really sticky as you're moving through things, you have the opportunity to feel a little bit of this Knight of Wands confidence as you're moving towards things. And when we are in that state of confidence and joy, we're really magnetic to the things that we want and we're having a good time while it's materializing. So it's really a win-win across the board. And also, I really love that that's the potential for something that had to do with the King of Cups. Again, if we're thinking about like emotional and spiritual maturity and intuitive mastery, like sometimes that can seem kind of serious, you know, like going into the depths of the waters of our trigger, like that can feel like really heavy and serious. But actually, doing that kind of work gives us access to more joy, more confidence, more freedom, more vitality, like all of those things that are associated with fire signs, associated with the wands. So if you had never considered that those things go hand in hand, this spread and the energy of this month is here to show you that, in fact, they are very connected. Okay, let's talk about this second area of breakthroughs because I am so excited about this one. I think this one is pretty rad. The card that represents the second area of breakthrough, of growth, of transformation and expansion in the month of May is Major Arcana 24, Temperance. Now, based on the rest of the cards in this particular spread, just like the way that I'm feeling this, is that I feel like we're finding this temperance, this balance. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more as it relates to something to do with our material experience. So maybe for you, it's focusing on your health. Maybe it's focusing on your money. Maybe it's focusing on your career. Maybe it's certain stuff to do with your home. Like there's some aspect of like a material element of your life that this temperance card really feels like it's applying to. So just keep that in mind. I find that this temperance card comes up when we need to address the way that we're balancing different aspects of our life and really balancing where we're putting energy into things. Before this temperance card, we can be a little bit in extreme energy. So when this temperance card comes around, usually there's a little bit of a season of let me replenish, let me recalibrate, let me reflect, and let me find a little bit better balance between all of the things. So I'm not so all or nothing, or I'm not like suppressing one thing and like really going crazy in another thing, right? Because that's when we find extremes, and that's kind of the opposite of this temperance card. This temperance card is like, where can we just find harmony with the things that are present? Like, where can we find harmony and balance in all of the areas that are important to us and where we want to be putting in our energy? Like, what makes the most sense for that so that we can really find that sort of homeostasis within ourselves? We can find that sort of internal harmony, and that really helps us stay centered and stay connected with ourselves, with our intuition, etc. So if you've been feeling like it's been kind of hard to do that in your life, like I don't know if maybe you find yourself saying like I don't have time for that, I don't have energy for that, there's too much going on, you know, I feel overwhelmed, I feel exhausted, I can't seem to make time for that, then this temperance card is really speaking to you. I will also say I'm about to open my new one-on-one coaching program, and it's specifically designed for people who have had a really hard time figuring out how to prioritize themselves without feeling selfish, and who experience that overwhelm, exhausted, exhausted, like overstimulated, and then you start to get like maybe a little tense, crabby, like all of that kind of stuff that doesn't feel like it's authentic to you. It's probably affecting your relationships. It's probably affecting your own self-concept, your self-trust, your self-worth, like all that kind of stuff. It's probably making you feel like you can't like work towards really important manifestations. It's probably impacting your relationship with your kids and the kind of parent you want to be, if you do have kids. So I just want to say, if you feel like you really are ready to kick that pattern in the butt and you're really ready to learn how to release that so that you know how to maximize your energy for your own life, you know how to alchemize those triggers that are tied to it, how to finally like actually change those patterns, and you want some one-on-one support to be able to do that so that your relationships can improve, so you know how to tap into your energy to create what you want, show up as the person that you want and whatever kind of relationships you have. I highly recommend you checking out my one-on-one program on my website, or check the show notes that have a link to sign up for the wait list. And if by the time you're listening to this, it's officially open, then you'll still be able to go to my website or my link tree and see the information for that. So anyway, let's keep going through this area of breakthroughs for the month of May. One of the things that we're needing to release is the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords is the energy that rules over our mental faculties, our ability to logic and plan and take into consideration like all of the little factors, like really objectively, almost a little bit clinically sometimes. And the Queen of Swords specifically has a reputation for being a little blunt, definitely being a little clinical, if not a little bit cynical. And she's just kind of no bullshit. But sometimes that energy doesn't really serve us because it actually can be a reflection of us being a little bit jaded. I know that this card has come up in a spot in previous months. So if this sounds a little bit familiar, that's why. It feels like we need to release the part of ourselves that is being kind of pessimistic. That's what it is, pessimism. Our brain, our ego mind uses pessimism to protect us because the thought of being disappointed or like letting ourselves down or letting other people down, like those emotions are really hard to tolerate in the body, especially if we've never learned how. Like the sensation of those can be really overwhelming. And so it tries to protect us from experiencing those things again with pessimistic kind of thoughts, especially when we back it with logic and reason and data and past experiences. Like we feel very justified in being kind of pessimistic. But really, all that does is it blocks us from new opportunities and it sets up our beliefs to expect bad things to happen. And our reality is generated based on what we expect and what we believe will happen. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy and not a super positive way when we stay really committed and really locked into some of our pessimistic expectations of the future. So I would just say, if you do find yourself, like if you do catch yourself kind of having negative thoughts that tell you something's not possible, or that it's only going to be this one way that's not really the way that you want it to be, or, you know, just other kind of like negative thoughts like that, that, you know, on the surface say that they're based on past experiences and it's because you're being smart about it or like whatever, which is again some of that air sign sword energy to try and justify you continuing to hold on to them. Just observe if that happens to you. And this month, it feels like we're going to let that go a little bit in lieu of embodying the energy of the Six of Pentacles, which is our card for what energy should we embody as it relates to this area of breakthrough in the month of May. The Six of Pentacles is a really cool card. It comes right after feeling some sort of loss or hardship, again, in our material parts of our experience, might be money, might be health, whatever. Like we come out of that and we've learned a lot. And because of what we've learned, our hard fought lessons, we actually have a little bit more space, abundance in some way. And the Six of Pentacles has this really generous energy of like, now that I've gone through it and I know how, like, I want to share with other people. Like, I want to extend what helped me to other people. This can be being generous, like literally with your money. That's what the image of this card has, is it's somebody who's like giving some sort of charity. If that's something you've been feeling compelled to do, of course, do that. I don't think that this always has to mean money, though. I think that this can mean, are you sharing what you feel compelled to share, just like in a generous way to be of service? And of course, in a way that's healthy for you, that's not martyring yourself, you know? Like, is it sharing your knowledge and your insight with people? that are interested in it? Is it sharing your time and energy? Do you have a little bit of extra time that you could benefit somebody? Is it sharing a little bit of your effort? As like, are you a good cook and making an extra meal for somebody is something that you feel moved to do, right? Like, and what do you have to offer in a little bit more of a material way? Again, like time, energy, money, whatever that you could offer other people. And being in that energy of generosity is also so magnetic to you getting blessings. It like circulates the energy of giving and receiving so that you can kick that energy into gear that also helps you receive more. And of course, it feels wonderful to truly like help other people from a place of service. So there's like a question of where can we be more generous? Where can we open ourselves up and kind of go into our communities, engage a little bit more, and just put it out there like, hey, this is something that, that could help other people. And those of you who are interested, like, let me know. You're not forcing it on anybody, but you'd be surprised how many people are probably going to be interested in your hard fought lessons or in the things that kind of seem like a no brainer or no big deal to you, might actually be like exactly what somebody else has been praying for, like exactly what somebody else has been like hoping that somebody would help them with. So, where in your life can you start to bring in more generosity? Because again, that is so connected to when we're trying to manifest things. Because again, I feel like this whole breakthrough definitely is connected to things that have to do with our material aspects of our lives. I don't know a single person who wouldn't enjoy having more money and wealth in their life, who wouldn't enjoy feeling a little bit healthier, who wouldn't enjoy having more things that feel pleasurable, like even aesthetically or practically in their life. These are all material things, right? Who wouldn't want a career that felt even more, fulfilling and enjoyable, right? So for all of those things that you're probably hoping for, like you carving out time and space to figure out how you can just be of service and give what feels like you uniquely have to offer is the perfect counterbalance to some of this pessimistic energy that we might have been in with the Queen of Swords. Now, what is the outcome? What's the potential outcome if we really get this in gear? One of my favorite cards is the outcome, the 10 of Pentacles. This is the pinnacle of abundance and the pinnacle of material success. That's what this card is. So I don't know what it is. It is for you that you've been trying to bring into your life. It's probably one of the things of the examples that I just said: money, wealth, career, home, and family. Maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's one in particular. You have the opportunity to see a lot of material success and like the culmination of manifestations coming true with this 10 of Pentacles. There's also an element of like generational wealth and being able to like let your success impact your loved ones and your family. So I don't know if there's also an element of maybe you enjoying the product of your labors, like with your loved ones. That also ties into the final card for the spread too. So I'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. But there's also an element of like you being so good and like so abundant that the cup runneth over. And of course, you're sharing with your loved ones. Like that, there's that energy in this too. So I would keep that in mind. If like you really are feeling and seeing manifestations come to light, how could you really celebrate that abundance by creating the experiences that you want with your loved ones? Because like we've talked about a lot in my other money episodes, we don't just want money. Like just having the dollar in the bank account like is not what we want. We want what the money helps us exchange for, whether it's experiences or items that also help us have experiences. You know what I'm saying? So what kind of experiences have you really been wanting that you would love the help of money to help you exchange for? And can you really orient and soak in and enjoy that experience that you're now able to have with the support of whatever material manifestations are that are coming through for you? So again, where do you need to balance maybe your priorities a little bit better with your energy and your schedule with the Temperance card? Where can you not be in such extremes about something that's probably driving you to extremes or making it harder for you to balance is a little bit of like pessimism or trying to be overly logical when really you can come back into a really abundant and generous energy to sort of like kick you into the right energy or to start fueling that give and receive cycle to accelerate and however it's showing up in your life. And when you're doing that, there's the opportunity for like a literal wealth, literal abundance to show up in your life in a really big way. And if you have really cool stories of that happening this month, please DM me. I love nerding out about really cool manifestation stories, especially when it's related to like sessions we have or podcasts or whatever. So please, honestly, DM me, Healing with Brie on Instagram, or you can send me an email too if you want. Now, the final card to go go into this month is the Nine of Pentacles, which is so Taurus coded. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And in terms of some of the like channeled messages that were coming through about this month, this card fits perfectly. So the Nine of Pentacles has to do with enjoying the spoils of our labor, like enjoying, like actually finding pleasure in the fruits of our labor. And it's really interesting that this meaning is associated with a card that comes right before really seeing the pinnacle of that, wealth and physical manifestation is this energy of being in pleasure and joy, because that is receptive energy. That is you already like being at the frequency of somebody who's feeling grateful and really taking it in and embodying the energy of like, I am in pleasure and enjoyment. And then all of the things in your mind's eye that feel like they would be pleasurable and enjoyable to you, AKA your manifestations, like they come to you so much faster because you're already in that same energy. Again, this is very Taurus coded, and the fact that it is in the suit of the Pentacles means it's material and it means get in your body. This means like actually in your senses. This means being really present. This isn't just a mental visualization kind of thing. This is you like being in your life 100%. It's like you standing there and looking around and being like, wow, every little detail of this moment is really cool and really perfect in its own way. Like, wow, like I feel like I'm soaking in every little luxury that I have in my life. Like I'm tapping into the energy of luxury and pleasure and enjoyment. Like that is the Nine of Pentacles. That is absolutely Taurus energy. And that is the gift of this month. It is so important to get into your body and to feel good. If you want more things in your life that feel good, that fill out this vision of what a good life looks like, you have to start by feeling good in your body, not in your mind, not just in your dreams, but like in your body in the present moment. This Nine of Pentacles is the card in our spread that's telling us what energy to take into the month. What can we incorporate more of as we're moving through these areas of breakthroughs and the overall themes? And it's literally get in your body and feel good. Who doesn't want to do that? What a simple thing. Of course we want to do that. That's literally your job, is feel good this month. Okay, guides, do you have any other messages, any other info that you want people to know going into the month of May? Yeah, they're saying that you're really like sinking your roots in for the month of May. The advice from last month about like getting outside and soaking in like some of the earth codes and sun codes as like the seasons are changing are really going to help you do this more gracefully. And nature in general just helps us come back into our bodies because it is literally the body earth, like the earth is. And we're coded in our body to really enjoy and find the earth beautiful. So whenever we can be outside and be in places that just feel beautiful, it makes that a lot easier for us. They're saying just get in more repetitions and more intention of trying to create more moments of pleasure and joy in your life until this becomes second nature. Because when it's second nature for you to find like actual, authentic, embodied enjoyment in as many parts of your day as you can, like your life will become incredibly abundant in like ways that really, really surprise you. Yeah, they're saying if you feel some blocks about that, if you have like some thoughts or beliefs that come up that like sort of make it feel hard to access or make it feel like you shouldn't do that, please work through those, because it's like literally one of your jobs is to feel good, to feel joyful in your body, in your life all the time, as often as possible. They're saying you're here to grow. So of course there'll be times that feel kind of harder that they push you, but there is growth in being able to enjoy things as well. It's not just the hard stuff that has purpose and growth for us. There's a lot of purpose and growth, honestly, even a little bit more for us and being able to be in joy. And they're like, your culture, we've just become so serious about everything. So like, let's just come into the present moment, make it a little bit simpler, come into your bodies and find ways that feel good. This is going to help with a lot of people's health stuff, like connecting with the sensations of your body and making choices that literally make you feel good. Resting, what you're eating, where you're going, how you're moving, like which ones make you feel good, and do more of that this month and always, but especially this month. All right. Is there anything else before we get into the numerology and the astrology for this month, guides? Oh, that's really cool. I pulled a card just off the top of the deck, and it's our card of the year, the Strength card. They're saying coming through the first quarter of the year, which is kind of like the first quarter of a moon cycle. And I talked a little bit more about the moon cycles in that cycle syncing episode with Coach Hanny. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the part where we talk about the different moon cycles. But the first quarter is like we've gone through the first phase of integrating this strength energy, the strength card. And it's okay for you to like check in and reflect back on how you're feeling in regards to embodying the strength card. I just did something really cool with the people in my group coaching program, Flowmaster. And at the beginning of it, we rated ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 for two different things. For one, the like main fear that we were trying to release, the main block we were trying to release. We rated from 1 to 10 how intense that felt. And for a lot of people in that group, it was, fears or patterns that was telling us we had to really be in like control energy, or that we were really freaked out something was going to go wrong all the time, or that we just couldn't let things go. We couldn't get in flow. Like, how intense was that when we started? And then the other thing we rated ourselves on is the way that we wanted to feel. We wanted to feel like, we could just go with the flow, that we could be at peace, that we could have space, that we would be unbothered if things didn't go to plan. Like, let's just say that was the ideal energy. How true and how strong did that energy feel at the start? And then we rated it at the end of the program so we could really like compare and contrast the progress. And by the way, it was crazy. In 6 weeks, people went from feeling like a 7 or 8 on average in that fear energy to like a 3 on average. And then for the energy they wanted to feel, they started feeling about a 3 and how true it felt for them to feeling like a 7 or 8. By the end of 6 weeks, it was friggin' nuts. So anyway, I share that example to encourage you to do something like that too. So you can go back and listen to the 2024 yearly forecast if you want to hear my full breakdown about the strength card. But feeling this like major arcana 8 strength card is really about having emotional resilience and being really, really grounded in yourself and confident in yourself in a way that gives you grace and strength to literally handle anything that comes at your way. Like, big emotions can come and it's okay. Like, you have sort of that like internal cord, almost like a spinal cord that like keeps you centered, where it can kind of like bend and move, but like you're always going to be able to find the core again because you're not going to lose yourself in it, right? Because you have that strength of clarity and vision about who you are, and you have some of the tools and maturity to like go through whatever it is with grace and like always come back to yourself. And that like literally is emotional resilience, right? Like, that is strength, that no matter what happens, like, I know I'm coming back to myself, so it's okay, it can happen. How do you feel about that so far this year? Are you feeling like you're more grounded in yourself? Do you feel like you have a little bit more of that sense of like personal power and autonomy and emotional resilience here about a quarter of the way through the year? How are you feeling about that? I guess technically it's a little bit more than a quarter of a year, but it feels like the like cycles of those first couple of months have really fully completed, which is why they're bringing it up now. And you could like literally rate yourself, like what does this strength card mean to you? And how do you really want to feel as it relates to this strength card by the end of the year? And what things do you think are keeping you from that energy right now? And like journal about it. Journal, okay, this is the energy I feel like that's keeping me from it. How strong does that feel? Why do I feel like that's blocking me? What things could I do to move through that? What do I need to help move through that? And then on the flip side, how do you want to feel as it relates to this strength card by the end of the year? Like, what does that really look and feel like? And like, how strong does that feel in you right now? Like, how true is that right now? And just like rate yourself 1 to 10. And then again, in 3 months, 4 months, check in with yourself and see what kind of progress you're making. Who knows? Maybe you set like a whole different goal. But I feel like those kinds of check-ins can help us give ourselves credit for how far that we've come, because it's really easy to sort of forget what it was like before and to just be thinking about the next thing that we want to do better on. And again, coming back into, wow, that celebration card, the 4 of Wands, like, we got to celebrate how far we've come. Like, we've really got to. It's an important part of the progression process. So that seems like a fun little tip that the guides wanted to bring through for how you can do that as it relates to your personal and spiritual development moving through the rest of the year. I'm going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and talk about the numerology for the month of May and the astrology. Okay, so let's talk about the numerology for the month of May. The collective year number, so the number for the whole year for the whole collective is 8. Personal power, abundance, prosperity, achievement. Yes, there's correlation with that 8 tarot card. Yes, it's all very synchronistic, but that is the overall theme that all of the collective is working towards this whole year. We calculate the monthly number by adding the number of the month. So like literally month 5, May, to the number for the overall year, which is 8. And then we reduce it down to a single digit. So 5 plus 8 is 13, technically a 2-digit number. So we add 1 and 3 together, and that equals 4. So we are in a month 4 underneath our year 8. So then we can ask ourselves, what is the energy of a month for? And let me tell you, this is what we got in store for a 4 month: foundations, work, challenges, and breakthroughs. I channeled into this a little bit, and this is what came up for me. When we are thinking about the number four, I almost think about like the cornerstones under like a house, like a foundation, right? Like we're building out the foundation so it's really steady so that we can continue to grow and expand on top of it. Now, to build a foundation can take a little bit of work. It can take a little bit of labor. Like, again, if we're using the metaphor of like an actual foundation of a house, it takes a little bit of work to like put down the cement and the wood, like literally lay the groundwork for the rest of the house to be built on top of. So, this month, it has us really evaluating or maybe even building the foundations that we have in our life. Are your current foundations stable? Are they steady? Are they current? Or are there places that have some holes that need a little bit of work to be established better? Or maybe you're trying to create like a whole new element of something in your life and you're starting a new foundation from scratch. Like you're crawling, you're building, like you're really progressing in that whatever this new thing is. And like you're finishing the aspects of your foundation to keep expanding on moving forward. So I would definitely pay attention to whatever life is showing you about the foundations that you have in your life is related to the topics that are like most top of mind right now. This is especially related to health, like the foundations that you have, like your routines, etc. Your relationships. Relationships are a huge foundation of our support. They influence our energy, our mindset, like they influence us so much. So what are your relationships looking like in terms of how they support you and the foundation that they provide for your life experience? Maybe it's for your career. Maybe there's certain aspects of how you approach it, your beliefs about it, your habits as it relates to it, or maybe even just the career itself. Like, is it helping provide something that is stable and secure and bringing like goodness into your life? Is the exchange of energy that we do in our careers, like, is that something that's really serving the life that you're trying to build on top of the house that you're trying to build on top of that foundation? Again, a lot of these sound very like pentacles sort of coded, which they absolutely are. And they sound very Taurus and like earth sign coded, which they are. So, and I love a synchronicity of when a lot of these energies feel very similar, because that to me feels like it makes it very clear. It makes the energy very potent and very focused. So don't be afraid if, some parts of your foundation show that they're a little shaky this month. Honestly, that's just information for us to use. If there's a relationship that doesn't really feel like it's aligned or it's supporting us in the way that we want, then that's information that we can use to kind of phase it out, maybe to a different place in our life, and let other relationships come in that are a steadier foundation. Same thing with our health, like our goals, and we're changing all the time. So it doesn't even have to be that our like old foundations are wrong or bad, but it just might be that they're not working for us in the way that we want to moving forward. And we have to be able to be honest with ourselves about that so that we can create the change, so that we can then create the like results. We can create the overall experience that we're desiring. And if you're not getting things that you desire, and maybe, you feel a little bit hesitant to like really honestly acknowledge these kinds of things, and that could be a reason why you're kind of blocking yourself from even being able to experience, the kind of life that you want. And I say that very not judgmentally, because yes, I have totally been there. So of course, have grace and compassion with yourself, but you can be compassionate to yourself and you can be honest with yourself. At least start one at a time. And again, think about the fact that all of those elements I mentioned, your health, your career, your routine, your relationships, including your relationship with yourself work, time you spend with yourself, your relationship to yourself, all of those are like the cornerstones that sit under the house that is your life, the house that is your experience in the world. And if you want that house to be able to be built up really big and really tall, the foundation's got to be really steady. And you're the one that creates the foundation in your own life. Your choices, what you choose to engage in, what you choose not to engage in, how you choose to relate and think about things, all of that builds your foundation. And all of that, thankfully, is in your control. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's both your responsibility, but also you're the one that can control it and change it. So that is what the energy of 4 really brings in and feels like it's contributing to what we can expect here in the month of May. And finally, a little bit about the astrology of the month. So we are still in Taurus season until the 21st of this month. If you want to learn more about the energy that Taurus has for us, then you can tune into the April forecast, where I talk a little bit more about that. We are going to have a new moon in Taurus on the 7th at 11:22 p.m. Eastern time, and that's going to be at 18 degrees Taurus. What I'd love to tell people with the lunar cycles is it's fun to see where you have that exact degree of that zodiac sign in your chart to see what it activates. So you can check and see what that you have. If you have anything at exactly 18 degrees or maybe within 3 degrees in Taurus or Scorpio, because Scorpio is directly across the sky. So anything at 18 degrees Taurus is also going to activate anything around 18 degrees in Scorpio. And it's also going to activate its other fixed signs, which are Leo and Aquarius. So if you have anything around 18 degrees in Leo or Aquarius in your chart, those are also going to be activated by this lunar cycle. Also, we're going to have a lot of planets in Taurus come that new moon. We're going to have the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Taurus. It's a lot of Taurus energy. And again, the message is get in your body, find safety in your body and in the sensations of your body. Find abundance and pleasure in your body through your senses around that time. So I'd be curious to hear like what comes up for you when the sun and the moon are aligned. Again, that's a great time for setting intentions and really reflecting and connecting with yourself and what's important to you and what you want to focus your energy to create come the next cycle. That's what the time of the new moon has for you. So I'd be curious, like what comes up for you around the 7th, around that new moon, if there are things that relate to your physical health or your sense of presence or your sense of enjoyment, your sense of safety in your own body. You can feel free to DM me about those because again, I love hearing about that fun stuff, but that is the energy of the new moon around the 7th. Then the sun moves into Gemini and it's officially Gemini season as of the 21st of May, which is a very big change in energy. Gemini is an air sign and it's very quick paced. It's very social. It's very adaptable. It's very changeable. It's very like engaged mentally and just curious about all of the things. And we start to feel that energy in our lives. The sun is illuminating that kind of energy when it's moving into Gemini. And then before the end of the month, we will have a full moon in Sagittarius, which will be on the 23rd at 9:53 a.m. EST at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. What's interesting is I'm getting the sense that by the time that that full moon comes around, one of the foundations that we're going to be thinking about is probably primarily relationships. I'm just getting a sense of that, especially with Gemini being such like a social sign, and really Sagittarius is too, or are like kind of like ideas about ourselves in the world, because both of those signs, Gemini and Sagittarius, also have to do with like the way that we're thinking and relating to the world around us, just from different approaches. So if you find that part of yourself in your life like being challenged a little bit, or really just being revealed by the energy of the full moon, if it's feeling a little wonky, then something's not in alignment. If something's feeling really powerful, that's probably a sign that it is. You know, that's the kind of energy that the full moons offer us, is showing us what's working and showing us what's not, so we can like fully embody or release. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's going to be the energy that's around the 23rd. Thank you so much to everybody who listened to this episode. Again, let me know your thoughts. If there's something that you want me to tune into, questions you want me to ask the cards or the guides about the months, I would love hearing your input and suggestions on that. Like I mentioned, my newest one-on-one coaching program is going to be available very soon, if not right around the time that this episode comes out. So if you're interested in what it would look like to do that trigger alchemy and spiritual mindset coaching with me, please check out my website. I will say it is one of the higher investment services that I offer people, but the reason for that is because you get the most accelerated and powerful change, transformation, and healing when you commit to doing this work. Technically, we work together for 4 months, even though we stay in touch for 6 months. And you would be so surprised how much you and your life can dramatically change when you've decided that you're ready to make a change and you're ready to invest the energy in yourself and in getting the kind of support that's going to take you from point A to point B. So please check it out if that's something that you're feeling really ready for. I love helping people like really one-on-one and getting that customized information and bringing through all like the channeled messages and stuff. It's the greatest time. I have lots of information of testimonials on there. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. And with that, I will see you guys next week for more breakthroughs. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode and for tuning in to Breakthroughs with Bree. Please share your favorite episodes with your friends and loved ones, and please like, subscribe, and rate the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it, as it helps me continue to create these episodes to help support your breakthroughs. I would love to stay connected with you, so please follow me on social media at Healing with Bree. Please check out my website at healingwithbree.net, which will always have the most up-to-date information about the services that I'm currently offering. And please consider using the link in the show descriptions to subscribe to my email list, so you can be the first to hear about any offerings. You can get all of the free resources that I offer, as well as get my weekly channeled messages. My deepest love and gratitude to you, and I can't wait to have more breakthroughs with you next week.